Hello everyone, Tyler Morris here. You may have forgotten with all the goofy videos recently like taste buds, but I am indeed a university student. So today I wanted to talk about online university and the upcoming semester and the school year. So it's basically going to be OnlineU pros and cons, and I'm going to share a few updates at the end of this video towards OSAP and a few other things. Being at home with friends and family could provide for a more relaxed environment. So that could be a pro, depending on the type of person you are, which may be a good time for me to disclaim this, but in each of these categories, pros and cons, one thing that applies to me may not apply to you or may apply differently. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, let's keep going. Secondly, one of the main pros for me would be to save money, because if I stay at home, I live rent-free, where in residence, it's pretty much like upwards of $10,000 each year for the food as well as living arrangements. So that is a lot of money saved, and I could potentially just pay my whole year off and not go in debt. Who knows? We'll have to see. It might be less stressful for you, for me, for being at home, because you might be you might not be homesick. It might not be a new environment, because if you're in first year, it might be stressful for you to go away to a new place. So being at home could help you being less stressed. But is that a good thing? Because they say staying in your comfort zone is not good. So just a point to gather. Another pro may be that you may be able to do things you cannot at university at home. So for example, for me, there is hockey around me, whereas in university, all the hockey has been canceled. Intramural, D-League for me has been canceled, so I don't have any hockey lined up. But at home, there are already arenas lining up, opening up, sorry. And so that is a positive news for me, because I love hockey and I can't really live with the stress of school without hockey as my échappatoire, can we say. As well, online university might be able to give you a more free schedule. You don't have, well, then again, I don't know how it's exactly going to work in terms of, can you do the class whenever you want, or is it still like a 9 to 11 a.m. type thing, which is things we're going to have to wait and see for news about. But if it is just a free-for-all, basically, you can do classes whenever you want, then that's a good thing for people like me, for example, that like to go to bed at like 2 a.m. and you can do schoolwork all night and not have to wake up at 9 or even 10. As well, circumstances may be a pro for you. For example, you may have a car at home, which may permit you to go to certain places that you don't have in university, or you may have events that you want to do at home but you couldn't before because you're going to university. And the same things most likely apply on the con side. With online university, what I saw in the semester, or the ending semester for winter 2020, I was not as focused at home as I was in university. I felt more in my environment, in my residence, but I believe it's something I could probably recreate here. It's just going to be harder. So for me, I'm going to be saying a con would be to most likely be more distracted. For example, me, I live with my parents. So whenever they come home, there's going to be noise coming around. Do they want to go play ping pong? Do I have to go do certain things? So that could be distracting me from studies, which in residence for me was just, I do whatever I want whenever I want, basically. A big thing, especially for first year, you're probably going to be missing out on the experience, the campus experience. So making friends, going to Frosh, going to class in person, seeing all the buildings, all that thing might be something you were looking forward to. But if now you have to do online school, then you won't be able to do that. So that might be a big con for you. And for me personally, I love the school experience and going to classes and talking with friends, or even studying at Robarts and all that stuff. So I really love the campus experience. So I think that for me is a big con, which something may be tied to that is the learning experience. So for me personally, I really like to be in person, so in class, ask questions, be with friends when I study. So A con of online university could be that your learning experience is going to be negatively affected. So for example, will your friends be available for studying before a test? Teachers, yes, they're available, but not as much. And if you're like me, you like more of the in-person experience. So you can, for example, just as simple things as showing homework and asking a specific question for that. For me, asking that online is not the same, so that might be as well another con for you, or something to think about if you're considering doing online university. So you won't have that in-person experience, which is something I really value. And another thing, is that going to affect university costs? Because if you don't have to go in class, if they don't have to have as many classrooms and etc., is that going to diminish the costs? Are we going to see a reduction in tuition? Hopefully, because Rotman tuition is really high. But if we don't, then questions are going to be asked. Let's just say that. I'm more likely to slack off at home because I have, for example, I have a Jeep I can go drive around to an outdoor rink. I have, basically things are more accessible in a certain way at home, whereas at university it's also more accessible. For example, more hockey because I'm a small town. So I have only one rink, but in Toronto there's like 20 rinks near me. So there's that accessibility thing, whether it's a pro or con for you, but just think about that, where your living situation at home and versus your living situation in Toronto or wherever university you're at. So you might want to compare things you can and cannot do at both places and see which fits your lifestyle better. Another thing I wanted to mention in a con is, were you signed up, for example, for a club? So you might not even have the opportunity to go to online school. You might have to go to campus, or you might have to drop out of that club. So all those things are still tied, because usually everyone's going on campus. So you're signing up for a club the year before and you're expecting everything to go as planned. But this year we saw with the pandemic, if you don't know this yet, but we are in a pandemic. This is getting better, but we never know. Anything can change day to day. So what I might be saying today might not be correct in 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 months. We don't know. And finally, for me personally, I love the convenience of being on campus. So just being able to wake up one day and go in office hours, or waking up and going to see my friends and UC residents, or having rinks, like I said, really close to me. Outdoor rinks and all that kind of stuff. So the convenience in Toronto is really cool for that, because it has more services than my small town does. But for someone that may be living in another big city, that might be a different point of view. So first off, OSAP, the application was due, I believe, on July 1st. So that is done, but for me personally, I've received the first kind of estimation, so you might want to go see your profile on OSAP and see what kind of money is available for you if you applied. And if you didn't apply, you might want to consider applying, even though you might not receive your funding when needed in September, but still, funding for the second semester is better than nothing. So you might want to consider looking out into OSAP. Resources will be down below in the description. Another update for me, and for hopefully you guys too, if you go to University of Toronto, well, our timetable is going to be available on July 6th. If you don't, I suggest looking for your university's timetable. I'm assuming they're all going to be coming out around the same time. So you might want to start planning your courses. And then for me personally, as a third year, I believe it's on July 16th. That I can select courses, but I'm going to receive my start time on July 9th. So you want to be looking out for those dates as well for you, whether you're in University of Toronto or another university, for example, U Ottawa. So you might want to be looking for timetable dates when they come out, for start times, and then for when you can actually pick your courses, because you want to be planning for your courses. You want to have the timetable you want to have, not be stuck with something you don't want. And finally, for me personally, my residence, or for you might be an apartment, you might want to check those details out soon, because for me the application has been done for July 1st as well. I'm now waiting for news. They said they were gonna, I think the first rounds were in start of July. So if you're at University of Toronto and in residence, you might have different dates, but you might want to be looking through your emails more than regularly. your university email, that is. Don't forget to reach out to advisors and other resources. Those have helped me really profoundly. Making a timetable, asking questions about residence, asking questions about first year, second, and all those years. So you might want to reach out to those, whether you're at U of T or other universities. Hopefully you guys learned something, and if you did, drop a like, comment down your thoughts. Maybe I missed a few things, or maybe you want to add a few points. So comment them down below so that everybody can learn together and have the best university year in 2021.